Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of the Power Rangers Dino Supercharged Mighty Hero set. So this is sort of the traditional Toys R Us exclusive figure set. These usually encompass things from either one or multiple waves, and sometimes they include some sort of exclusive element. In this case, it's actually kind of a bigger exclusive element than usual in the form of the Dino Armor X Black Ranger right here. I think the last one had an exclusive combination sword, which isn't quite as much of a big deal, but so yeah, this one was much more worth getting. So obviously it includes him, like I just said. You get Doomwing, Dino Superdrive Red, Dino Superdrive Gold, I almost wanted to call him Sledge, I'm forgetting his name right now, we'll come back to him, and then the Silver Ranger right here. What is your name? It's like Heath or like Ned or something like that. We'll remember it eventually, I swear we will. Singe, and I in no way went off camera to go look that up because I am a genius. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at these figures. They'll probably fall over at some point because none of them, I should note, none of them, because I said that, have really a problem standing in general. It's just like the cloth on this review station throws their feet brains off like just enough. But alright, so here we have Doomwing, who's having trouble getting focused on because he's sharing focus with everyone else. But yes, so we're only getting at the moment a figure of Doomwing and none of Xenowing or Xenowing or however you want to say it, which I guess they think silver's good enough, but it would be easy enough to make one, and honestly I'd rather have it. But it's still kind of neat we are getting one. He's a pretty solid sculpt, honestly, as you can see. I think they did a really good job of capturing it, just, you know, in general proportion-wise. Detail-wise, in terms of the sculpt, he could use a little bit more paint details, as per usual with the villain figures, but he still looks pretty solid. Articulation-wise, his arms can move in and out and around. You do have a single joint here. He can move his legs out and around a bit, but they're so fat, and he's got like this hard plastic piece here that kind of prevents it. It's kind of, you know, a moot point. And then you can move his little feet here like that, I guess, for stability. You can't move his neck. There is a crease here that almost makes it seem like you can, but then when you check out his ponytail there, it, you know, obviously prohibits it. So you can't quite get a full range of motion. Here's the back. You got the wings, hence Doomwing. His tramp stamp back there. Comes with his sword, which is honestly just one of those classic Power Rangers standard color weapons. But yeah, overall, he's a decent little figure. It's just nice to get some of the villains that you like. I'm not a huge fan of all the Monsters of the Week from Dino Charge / Cure User. I think they're pretty fugged, to be honest. So I don't really care about all the Monsters of the Week, but for some of the bigger villains like this guy, for this show and for Cure User, it's kind of nice to get him, although I wish we would have gotten Xenowing or you know what, you're sitting down, Doomwing. I'm done with you and your Fruit Loops. Okay, so now we have Dino Superdrive Red. The main line is going to come with a set of all of these, you know, not like at once, but in, you know, individual figures. But I really, really like this mode, so I'm glad that these figures are finally starting to trickle out. It's pretty basic because it's using the core Dino Charge mold. The only difference being, you know, you got the Dino Drive overlay here, which is also present in Dino Drive, and then the extra spikes here. But you have like the main details on the helmet being different, which I just think looks really cool. I think removing the mouthpiece and adding these little details are really cool, and it's one of the things I really like about Dino Charge is this original mode. I think it looks good. It's a shame it's only seen in the Zord, but I really like this. The articulation is basically the same as your standard Dino Thunder figure, up and around, all that, swiveling, knee joint. This is a knee, guys. This is a knee joint. Elbow joint, stuff like that. You got the leg joints here. Not double knee joint, that's figure arts. Single knee joint, there we go. And you can swivel his head around, and it's the standard Dino Charge mold. You do get the Dino Superdrive Saber here in his red color, so that's all cool and stuff. But yeah, overall I do really like this figure just because the Dino Charge mold in general I do like, and I really like this design. Okay, so he's probably going to fall over too. None of the people apparently like having carpet. They're just like, we just prefer the regular ground. Okay, that was an amazing interpretation of a figure saying we prefer the regular ground. This guy's even more basic. I'm not going to bother really going over the articulation because for this guy or this guy or this guy, because it's all the same base mold. There's very few things to mention. I think that these two guys back here are a little bit hindered because of their armor, but not by much. But this is even more obviously the same base mold of black that we're used to getting. The only difference is being these gold armored pieces, which are basically just like those, but gold armored. It's more of like a dull brown bronze mustard. That's probably my only complaint about this figure is I wish this had a bit of a gold shine to it. It's not the most bright gold in the show, but maybe just a bit of a sparkle. And then of course you get these two pieces here, which are part of the Dino Armor X thing. They're both two held items. They're not molded on, so you put them on his hands like that. So that will work out. So overall, it's really nice to get a figure for this. So the closest we have gotten is the big muscleized 6-inch version figures of the Red Ranger way back at the beginning of the Dino Charge toy line. And since he was the first one and like it sort of was his originally, he was the only one that could use it, is what I'm trying to say. So it's nice to get a figure of it and actually have a bit of a incentive to get this set if you are a completionist or if you just happen to really love this mold. It's nice to get. Okay, so Super Drive Gold pretty much will hold the same points as Red had for me. I really like the design. I think Gold's in particular looks really cool. There's just something about the way the more angular look of his visor looks and the silver playing off of here. Just kind of the same general thoughts for this one. Just a nice figure. Again, he has the Super Drive Saber and his signature gold. And as a plus, this guy is way more gold than he is in the show, but it looks very cool, very nice. Okay, Singe, I would say here, is probably the biggest disappointment of the set, to be honest. I think that he overall looks fine. I think the base mold, in terms of look, is pretty solid. Like, proportion-wise, he's not too off. You know, just kind of sitting there, he looks good. He's one of the cooler designed Kyoryuger villains, so I do like that. But more so than Doomwing, you notice sort of the details missing on him. He looks a little bit basic, and it's not even about getting every detail, because honestly, I'm pretty used to, and slash don't mind, missing various details on some of the Bandai of America things, but it's about removing a bit too much, and I just feel that there's a bit too much here where he looks a little basic. But honestly, that's not even my main problem with this figure. It's the weird articulation. He can only move his arms outwards like this and backwards and 360 around. You can't move him outwards. You can move his legs outwards, but you can't bend his knees unless he just has really strong knees I'm not getting. And you can't move his waist, which you really can't do with anybody, but you can move his head a little bit, but it also feels really weirdly hindered, partly by this, and mine is just kind of weirdly sticky. I don't know if that's a main problem with anybody else's, but like right here it's going to be harder, but even on here it feels weird. So it's a very limited articulation figure. It almost feels like the bike figures with just more of a limited range, and it's just kind of weird with the villains because I get that they're all different shapes, but when you have much more full-on humanoid ones like this, it's weird to have inconsistent articulation, even just in this set amongst him and Doomwing. I mean, granted, they're all basically original molds because, you know, they're monsters and not just rangers you can color swap, but still it would be nice to have a little bit more consistency even in the basic range of motion for these figures, since they are in this line which is known for a bit more articulation. And then he gets his sword here, which is just the standard, you know, single color red, but he stands pretty easily, which is kind of nice, I guess. There's like a hair there, sorry about that. Alright, now we have Dino Charge Silver, the only basic one in this set. He looks pretty good. Again, kind of like with the armor on him, I wish he had a bit more of a shine, but just like a smidge. He doesn't look like really gray. He still does have a distinctive silver look to him, which is definitely good since he's the Silver Ranger, but I just want just a smidge more of a shine because that's what it's like in the show, and I've seen them pull it off with other colors. Specifically, some of the Legendary Rangers from the Super Megaforce line had a bit more of that silver shine, and I think that would have really added it, just added a little bit more to it. But otherwise, he's basically the same quality as the other standard Dino Charge figures, and I think he looks really good. It's one of my favorite Rangers in Kyoryuger and one of my favorite suits, so I'm happy to have it. He's the only one I really have a loose joint problem with. His legs are a smidge loose. Gold is slightly loose, not to like the he's loose already point, but the he'll probably become loose later. That's kind of hit or miss amongst these figures in general, but unfortunately Silver's the only one that is loose for me. But other than that, it's the same standard quality. I think he looks good. He comes with his Giga Gabu revolver, which is painted blue, which makes sense. And he also gets his special sword, which I think is really a nice touch. Just kind of, not really surprised they did that, but it's just kind of nice and distinctive to his character. But yeah, overall, this figure set basically Sorry, Doomwing's just gonna have to sit in the corner of shame. But anyway, this figure set is basically the same quality, more or less, you've come to expect for the Dino Charge figures if you've been following them in any way, shape, or form the last 2 years. So my recommendation is basically, if you're wanting to get all of this set of this final wave of the Dino Supercharged ones, and you want this guy, go ahead and pick this one up because it will knock a chunk out of the wave you have to buy, and you'll get this exclusive figure. This is sort of a rare opportunity where this actually started appearing before this last wave of figures happened, and sort of at the same time also, because as of this recording, this wave has just started appearing. So usually, you know, the figure sets like this appear after most people have gotten their complete sets. So right now I would suggest, if you want this exclusive figure, to just pick up this set if you're planning on getting everybody. They're all still pretty solid figures. My only real complaint in the set is Singe. The stupid S's, man. He's just a little bit of a disappointment, but overall, still the same good quality that I do mostly enjoy from these figures, and I really am excited to finally have Super Drive figures because I like the forms a lot. But anyway, until next time, make sure you have the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.